Hello everyone, welcome to Chef Shelley's Kitchen. I don't know about you all, but I really do enjoy broccoli cheddar soup, and Panera Bread does an amazing job at their recipe. And so I have played around with a couple of different recipes to figure out what are the best ingredients, what's the best way to make it. And so I hope that you will enjoy this one as much as I do. I love it. I loved it. I've tweaked it a few times, but it's just a great recipe. And I do something a little different in terms of, you're going to see me using my Vitamix over there to chop it up and almost puree it. But I'm going to leave a little bit of the thickness of the vegetables intact so that when I have the soup, I can have some of the thicker vegetables in there. So what we're going to do is just some simple ingredients. You'll see chicken broth. Here is broccoli, carrots, celery, onion. There's butter, salt and pepper, half and half. You can use whatever creamer you want. This is really for the thickening. This is flour and cheddar cheese. You might say, wow, that looks like Swiss cheese. Well, no, it's organic cheddar, doesn't have the dye, and you can actually buy that at Walmart or most other places. Just look for the organic without the dye. And I shredded my own because if you get the shredded kind in the store, which is the easiest thing to do, they have to add preservatives to it to keep it from sticking. So all the reasons why I buy the stick organic, and then I know that I have at least close to what I need. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to pour our chicken broth in here, and then let me go on and put it on the heated here. And then to that, we're going to add the broccoli. And of course, as always, look in the comment section for the specifics. To that, we're going to also add the carrots. We don't want to lose anything, and I'm going to save that because we can use it after we puree. Here is celery. Here is onion. And you would probably never think that all of these different ingredients are in broccoli cheddar soup, but they are, and it is pretty amazing. And then we're going to add some butter to it as well. So we're going to let that melt. So I'm going to put this aside for a good 20 minutes. We're going to let it come to a boil and cook. So when we come back, then we're going to take this and I'm going to pour it in my Vitamix, and then we're going to really puree it, okay? So let's let it do its thing, and then we'll be back. All right, so this has been roughly 20 minutes or so. And so what we're gonna do now, basically what you'll know that your vegetables are ready is that they're tender. So like if you take a fork or whatever and you can smash your broccoli, for example, you'll know that it's ready, okay? You don't need to make it mushy, if you will. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pour this in my Vitamix. Now, I need for you who don't have a Vitamix, whose machinery will not tolerate this heat, you may need to let this cool and then put it in your blender or your food processor, okay? So Vitamix, though, the wonderful thing about it is that it can take boiling heat. It's honestly, it's a machine. It does some of everything for me. All right, so we're going to take this now and make sure I get every little drop out. And now, oops, there's a little bit left. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and I'm going to just put it on the Vitamix. Now, here's a key thing to know. I'm only gonna put this on the pulse. So I'm just gonna let it pulse. And once it pulses, and I can tell that it looks pretty good, then I'm gonna scoop out about a cup. This is about a cup of it. I'm gonna scoop out about a cup of it, and then I'm going to puree it some more, okay? Because I want this to become kind of, well, I want the puree, but I want some of the vegetables to stay intact, okay? So let me go on and do that, and we'll come right back so you can see the consistency we're looking for. All right, so what I did was, and it's kind of hard for you to see, I think maybe the best way for you to see this, see if this is still hot, is to see how it pours out. So what I did was, I put it on pulse and I let it pulse. That's all I did. Then I took out just about a half a cup with it still kind of thick. Then I turned it back on and I put it to the first dial. So again, you don't want to make this watery. You need to keep some of the vegetables intact. And so it's really kind of, it's not that soupy. And the problem is, if you do turn it up too high, you're just going to get a bunch of, broth-like soup, and we don't want that, okay? So let's get every little bit out of here. And then what I'm going to do also, because me personally, now this is again a texture thing. If you like yours really, more of a smooth kind of taste without some of the more vegetables, then you don't have to set this aside. This is a Shelley preference, okay? I actually like having some of the vegetables. So now I'm just going to pour the rest of this in here, okay? All right, so now while that is going, I'm going to also add salt and pepper, okay? I'm going to stir that up. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to see if you can see this, because it is a little bit hard. Let's see if we can zoom the camera in so you can kind of see what that looks like. Okay? That looks good. Okay? Hopefully you can see that. So again, it's not too thick. All right. Okay. Hopefully you got a look. All right, next thing we're going to do is, while that now is heating back up, this is flour and this is the half and half. So we're going to take this, we're going to mix it. And what is this for? This is to make it thick. Okay, it gives you that thickness to it. And then we're going to add this to the mixture there. We're going to let it thicken up. So it's going to take, 3 to 5 minutes. To thicken up. And then after that, we're going to add our cheese, okay? The infamous cheese that I have sitting over here. So it's bubbling over there again. I'm going to go on and add this to it. Again, this makes it creamy, which is what we're after. So what I realize I need to do for 2021 is I'm going to have to get one of those cameras that come from the ceiling down so you can see in my pots, right? That's taking it to the next level. So we're going to have to look at investing in that. All right, so that is good to go. We need now to let this just come to a boil, and then you're going to stir it occasionally, okay? So let's let it come to a boil. We'll stir it. And then I'll come back once I can tell that it's nice and creamy, and then we'll add our final ingredient, and then we will give it a taste. All right, we're back. So really that took maybe 5 minutes just to make it creamy, and I'm going to pour it in my bowl here so that you can see it. It is nice and creamy. A couple of things came to mind. One has to do with the amount of salt that you use, and that depends upon your chicken broth. So if you use a regular store-bought chicken broth, it's going to have a certain level of sodium in it. What I usually buy is the low sodium chicken broth. That's what I recommend. So how much salt you're going to add to this is going to depend upon your chicken broth. So in the comments section, it'll have 1/4 teaspoon. I would start with that. And if you find that it needs a little bit more, add more. If you want more pepper, add more pepper, okay? But I would start with 1/4 teaspoon. And of course, you know, you can always make your own chicken broth. There's an episode on my channel, if you search my channel for homemade chicken broth, that's even better because then you already have your salt in there, how much you like, what tastes good to you. So, I mean, that's the best of all, the best of the best. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some cheddar cheese. And I happen to like the sharp. And it's already creamy. It's just gonna take it to the next level, quite honestly. So, put in just enough cheese. And honestly, I don't really have to turn the heat back on because it's already very, very hot. You're just gonna stir it in there. Oh boy, it looks so good and gooey. Looks nice and gooey. You know, I love eating this with Panera. Normally, I'll do the French bread. That's awesome. I love making or eating this with cooked naan. Ooh, that's so good. Usually I'll saute it in a little olive oil. And it's just heavenly. Okay, we are ready to have some of this. And what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna try to make the least amount of a waste. Let's put the lid on this and get this kind of out of the way for now. So we can be totally focused on this deliciousness. So I'm just gonna scoop some of this in here and you'll be able to kind of see how creamy it is. And I will pull this up to the camera. I'm just gonna hope that we can get a good shot of it. Okay, so let's put that there. And let me try to get a good shot of this creaminess here. Hopefully you can see just how, again, by keeping some of the vegetables, you can see the cheese. Creamy, creamy, creamy. Hopefully. Let's see, cameraman, do we have it? It's got good? Okay. All right, now let's give it a taste, of course. So good. I only used 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That's all it needs. And it's so delicious. And again, for me, I like the taste of still some vegetables that I can even chew on. It's just delicious. So if you're looking to make a broccoli and cheese soup, this is wonderful, wonderful recipe. Try it out. Have it with a nice piece of bread, perhaps a salad. Very nutritious. Hope you enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, just click on the little circle with my picture. I come out with a video every other week, a recipe that's simple, delicious, and a little healthier by some means, okay? Thanks again for tuning in. Bye-bye.